And welcome back to the third segment of our program today, the first program of 2015. And for this segment, we're joined by Dr. Kate Shackrell of Main Street Dentist here in Verona. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Carl.
And Kate, let's start with an easy one. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about Main Street Dentists and your work here in Verona?
Okay, absolutely. Main Street Dentist was founded in 1976 by my father, Dr. John Shackrell. For those keeping track at home, 1976 is prior to the time that Verona was even considered a city, so our office has had roots in Verona for quite a long time. We are a general dental practice. We see adults and children, and in addition to providing general dental services, we actually do a lot of really cool things here at Main Street Dentist. More advanced or specialized services, so things where most patients would have to go into, say, Madison, we're able to do here. Not always the most fun things, root canals, extractions, dental implants. But we also, for adults and children, can do orthodontics with regular braces and things like Invisalign, which is fantastic. We have a newer gum procedure for any of us out there with receding gums. Typically you'd have to go and have a graft done, but now we have a procedure where you don't have to have any incisions, any stitches, and it's all done right here in the office. So we do a lot of really fantastic things here.
And I should probably point out, I've been coming here since 1986 due to an unfortunate incident with some caramel corn and a tooth right back here. So
we're happy to have you.
That's right.
Thank
Coming
you so
here
much.
ever since. So tell us about you. How did you get into dentistry?
I joke that I think that becoming a dentist was in my DNA, not my brother's. He's a mechanical engineer, but I grew up hanging out in the office. My dad tells a story when I was 18 months old. I got a hold of the phone, called and said, "Dad, I have to come in. I think I broke my tooth eating an apple." Well, I hadn't, but I've always loved being part of this dental office. So from the time I could help out, whether it was touch up paint on the walls or weeding out in the flower beds, I've always been here. And then starting in high school, I worked as a dental assistant. And then once I got through college, it was just the natural next step to go to Marquette Dental School, follow my dad's path, and there's no other dental office I'd rather work at than this one.
Well, tell us a little bit about some of the challenges and interesting things you have to overcome to do dentistry work here in Verona.
I think the challenges we face in Verona are pretty similar to the challenges dentists face all over. I am very biased, but I think this is probably the most exciting time in history to be a dentist. But there's so many changes that happen all the time. You really have to stay on top of what are the new materials, what are the new technology advances, all of those different things. So we get very excited when we see these technologies, but then it's taking the time to actually go to the classes, learn about different things. So that's the biggest challenge. And then we also want to make sure that it's not just my dad and myself that are doing the updates, but making sure that everyone in our office has access to that. So everyone from Anita at the front desk to all of our hygienists and assistants, we're always taking different classes, but trying to stay on top of all the new technologies, that's the biggest challenge.
That's an interesting little fact because people see your name and your dad's name on the sign out front.
Yeah.
But how many people do you have working here?
Well, we have Anita, who's our full-time receptionist, so she is fantastic. She used to be my babysitter growing up, so she probably has lots of younger Kate stories. But then we always have a high school student who helps out as part of a work-study program. So right now we have Valerie Fisher, who's fantastic. We have 3 assistants and 3 hygienists, and then my dad and myself.
Okay. You've told us an awful lot about the practice here in your first answer, but if there was maybe one thing that people who drive by just don't understand or know about a dentist's office that maybe you'd like to share with them, what would that one kind of little secret thing be?
Main Street Dentists, we're all about excellence in dentistry. So our building is from the 1920s, but everything in here is just state of the art.
That is very true.
Thank you.
I've been coming here, like I said, since 1986, and they've done a lot of remodeling inside this building since I've been here. So I can attest to that. She's telling the truth here. All right.
Thank you.
Now, one interesting thing I know you guys have done here is you have started doing a lot of work in Honduras, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about how you started doing that and what you do down there.
Well, in 2008, Mary Dowling, who is a Mount Horeb native, came to our office and said, you know, I have this nonprofit, it's called Sharing Resources Worldwide, and they do medical mission trips throughout the world really, Africa, Central America, South America. But she said the one void they had was dental care, and she asked, would you be willing to set up a dental clinic? And we said, absolutely. So luckily, my dad is pretty much MacGyver when it comes to being able to set up things in third world countries. And we went down there in 2008 and established our clinic. It's come a long way since then. Our first suction system, so like when you come and suction, the system does that. Our first suction system was actually a shop vac. Literally a shop vac vacuum cleaner. So now we actually have a great state-of-the-art medical grade suction system. But
You put something on the end, right? So you don't
yes, we didn't have the whole vacuum patient stuff, but it was noisy. But really and truly, the things that we were able to do from that first visit to now are just great. And we've had wonderful contributions from other dentists in the area. So now we have 5 chairs down there. We go twice a year. And we have seen hundreds of patients, most of whom are children, and donated tons of dental services, whether it were cleanings, extractions, fillings, even just educational things. For many of the patients, they've never even seen a toothbrush before. For some of the adults, we're the first time they've ever encountered a dentist in their entire lives. That's hard to process for people here, where people here hate coming to the dentist. Down there, the lines are out the door. It's just such a wonderful thing to be able to give back. So we're in Seguatepeke. It's like a mountain village in the middle of this country. So you fly in, you're on the coast, and you end up with pine trees by the time you get to where you're going. It's really a unique area.
And when you go down, you say you go down twice a year. How long do you stay when you're down there?
A week.
A week?
Yes.
And how many people do you see in the course of that 1 week, do you think? Estimate?
Oh, at least 100. You certainly could see more, but we try to be able to do complete services in every person that we see. And there's good advertisement from when we're coming in so people can know ahead of time, and we try to, triage each trip who's going to be able to receive the biggest benefit from our services. And like I said, I think the education's a huge thing. We've seen now families where maybe an older sibling has come in first, and by the time we see the younger sibling 3 years later, they know what a toothbrush is. They know what floss is. I think it's universal. No one likes to floss, so we're working down there, but just like we have to work here with people flossing. So there's been a lot of education, which has been great.
Main Street Dentist has gotten me in the habit of flossing. That's how good they are here.
Flossing really is an important benefit.
Now, do you speak Spanish?
No, not well.
So do you have to hire interpreters and things when you're down there?
We used to have the Peace Corps that would help us out when we were down there, but now some of the older children that we've treated, like back in 2008, they'll come back and translate, which is really great. They are so good at the little kids, hold their hands, explain what's going to happen, but their English skills have gotten better than my Spanish, so I'm embarrassed to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My Spanish is pretty bad too. But, well, that's a terrific story. And are there any like kind of patient stories that you can share from maybe your time down there that just kind of illustrate the good you're doing?
Well, one patient story, this is pretty sad. There's not a lot of access to fresh water in Honduras, so a lot of families give the kids coffee that's sweetened with sugar, which isn't great for your teeth. Otherwise, it's soda. So for some families, the kids will come in and all of their teeth will have decayed or rotted out of their mouths. And parents thought that was a rite of passage. You were getting your dark teeth because your big teeth were going to be coming in. So the education that's showing, no, that's not right, but then helping these families to learn that it wasn't that they were doing anything wrong. They just didn't have the education to know. So
you call them dark teeth?
Yeah, dark teeth. We're getting our black teeth, and that means our kids are growing up. Well, anyone here would know that's not right. Your teeth shouldn't be breaking off and having all these illnesses. So
that is fascinating.
Yeah. But as far as patient stories here, HIPAA prevents us from sharing.
Yeah.
I would say that we have the best patients in town, and I'll speak for all of us, but especially Dr. John. We love treats, so we get spoiled by our patients. Mm-hmm. We have a gentleman in our practice who I think makes the best salsa, so we love when he brings us salsa. So
okay,
I would say that's great.
Next time I visit, I'm gonna bring a treat. Okay.
You don't have to, but we do appreciate it.
Now, one last little question. Now, you work with your dad. Mm-hmm. Do you have to call him Dr. John, or is it Dr. John until 5 o'clock, then it's Dad after that? Or?
Yes, I'd say so.
Oh, okay, very interesting. Okay, well, if someone wanted to get in touch with you here to maybe schedule an appointment, or what would be the best way to do that?
Easiest way is probably telephone, 608-845-6127. Otherwise, certainly check out our website, www.mainstreetdentist.com. You can schedule an appointment or just certainly read more about what we're doing. We do have a link to a blog, and so you can check out pictures from our trips to Honduras.
Okay. And the address here is?
105 North Main Street.
Right, and for those of you who need landmarks, it's right across the street from State Bank of Cross Plains and Walgreens on North Main Street heading towards the high school. So, well, Dr. Kate, it's been a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for having us. I appreciate seeing you, Carl.
You bet. And that wraps up the last segment of the first episode of 2015. We'll see you next time here on Chatting with the Chamber.
Your world is a strange